Hello, welcome back to All Today. We've missed the past couple of weeks due to, well, other obligations, I suppose.
Boy, are our arms tired.
But we're back. So let's start. Cheston, how are you doing?
I feel old.
Oh yeah, you just turned 30. So
I just turned 30, and I celebrated by staying at home, trying to watch a movie, and falling asleep 40 minutes in.
that sounds like the plot to a bad sitcom.
Yep. I was sitting there like, I want to watch this movie. I am enjoying this movie, but my body is saying no. And about an hour in, I guess my wife turned to ask me a question and said that I was passed out on the couch. Beer
Wow.
and a popcorn in hand. So
What movie?
Happens to the best of us.
I was watching the remake of West Side Story.
Well, that's probably why.
That's good.
No,
So
sure.
far.
That's why you fell
Apparently
asleep.
not.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I could have fallen asleep at Citizen Kane in the state I was in. Actually, I know I could have fallen asleep during Citizen Kane in the state I was in.
Could you have fallen asleep during Die Hard? That is a action-packed movie.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm kind of over Die Hard.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, like.
I know, but having watched like some other 80s/90s type movies lately, like I think Die Hard doesn't even sniff RoboCop's robot loincloth.
Well, I haven't seen RoboCop, but
You should. It's good.
I've heard that it is
I watched 1 and 2,
a very sharp movie.
but I didn't watch 3.
You didn't watch? Is 3 the new one that they recently made?
That's just called RoboCop.
Okay.
Because that's what you do. You bring old things back and then just call them what they were called before.
That's true.
So now you have to have parentheses after the movie name. RoboCop 2012 or whatever year it came out in.
Yeah, they stole that one from video games.
Yeah.
Mhm.
God of War 2018,
Thank you,
Spider-Man
Assassin's
2018, Assassin's Creed 20 whatever year.
I mean, there has to be at least 50 Assassin's Creed games
Just
by
wait
now.
until Madden NFL 25 has to be called Madden NFL 25 parentheses 2025. Differentiate it from Madden NFL 25 parentheses 2014.
That would be funny if they actually did that. Or if they called it Madden 25.
I told you that I
2.
think there's somebody at EA who wakes up every day sweating just bricks about, oh my god, why did we call a game Madden 25 in the 2012 season? Didn't we know?
Please let this lead to nuclear war so we don't have to deal with this.
That's right. That's why Putin's doing it.
Yeah, he's like, oh, we gotta save EA.
He's bailing his boys at Tiburon out.
Setzer, how are you doing?
I'm alright. Been a busy week full of Elden Ring.
Yes. But actually, I want to start with the most important news. Setzer, you have made a new purchase.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elden Ring, idiot. He just said it.
Yeah, that's true. My bad. I wasn't paying attention.
That and the Switch OLED.
OLED.
He's now a Nintendo doodler like us.
I wouldn't say that. I haven't played a full game on it yet.
He played a demo.
Yeah.
Played a
I
full
did play
demo.
the Kirby's Wacky Wonders or whatever demo
Yeah,
on
That
wild
list.
mode.
Mhm.
that's where they
I
put onions and
played
stuff on your fries.
the Triangle Strategy demo and the Crystal Chronicles demo.
Play is very generous for the Triangle Strategy demo. But
Yes, I listened to the Triangle Strategy radio play.
yes.
But I like it. The controller is miserable. I very much hate that. I'm going to have to get one of those pro controllers, like you mentioned, Derek. But
Yes.
other than that, I'm quite impressed. I'm quite surprised. I think it'll be fun for little games. The only full game we own is Animal Crossing, which is the whole purpose for buying this, right? Was my wife wanted to play Animal Crossing, and she's quite enjoying it. She was telling me about it. It's probably been almost 20 years since I played an Animal Crossing. Well, no, I think I played I think I very briefly played the Nintendo DS one.
You played the 3DS one with us for a little bit.
Did I? I don't
Yes.
remember.
We
Oh,
all
okay.
went to a town together and hit each other with nets.
Oh, yes, I remember that now.
How could
Yeah.
you forget?
So yeah, I guess I did play that, but I wasn't really apparently I wasn't really into it because I can't even really remember it. But
They all kind of run together in your defense.
yeah, there's always the raccoon. But yeah, so far I wouldn't say I'm pleasantly surprised. I figured it would be about what it is. But I think I'm looking for actual games to play on it once I'm done with Elden Ring.
Hmm.
I really wanted to play the Zelda game, Breath of the Wild. My local GameStop has 0 used and 0 new copies
Holy
of
shit.
Breath of the Wild.
For real?
So,
That's weird.
yes.
The
Yes.
game's been out for 5 years.
Yeah.
Try Walmart.
Yeah. Well, the thing about trying Walmart is then you have to go into the Walmart.
Well, I
which
agree with that.
That is a pain.
But
around
at least you
here,
get $10 off.
yeah,
At what price?
yeah,
That's true.
yeah.
That's true.
Walk into that germ factory.
No kidding. Yeah,
Yes.
Walmart is like another dimension. Every time I go in there, it's just like a surrealist experience.
I don't even shop there anymore, and when I do now, the lighting bothers me so much.
Yeah, it's almost like a liminal space just being in there. It's bizarre to me. I hate going to Walmart, but yeah, Breath of the Wild. Maybe I'll buy the full triangle strategy. I don't know. I was kind of losing my patience with it. I didn't complete the demo. Maybe I'll buy that Kirby game. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that'll be fun to play with your wife. Nice little
Mhm.
multiplayer time.
Can you play that multiplayer with like?
Yep.
Well, yeah, I know you can play multiplayer, but with like one person on one controller.
Yeah.
Con.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, you mean like sharing the joy trademark? Like splitting the
Yeah.
Joy-Con. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. Nintendo does tend to design their games to do that, though it's not necessarily recommended.
Yeah.
By me.
I can imagine why.
They suck. I hate using
It depends on the game. There's only like
They
2 or
all
3 games
suck.
I can think of where I'm like, this is okay. And it's Clubhouse games, which does not require much button use.
I don't like using the Joy-Cons in general. Like I said, I kind of mentioned this to a text message to you guys the other day. Even the piece of plastic they give you to slide them in, that kind of makes them look like a puppy dog controller.
Yeah. It's not very good.
I hate that thing. I hate
It's
that
not
thing.
very good. It's better than the alternative, though.
Yes, it is. It very much is. But yeah, my fingers wrap around it, and I can't like with the Xbox controller. You can kind of stretch your fingers all the way around it, but with this, it's like there's con in the way.
If you're the kind of person who doesn't play video games, I can see where that controller is fine for you. But I
Mhm.
think if you've conditioned yourself to expect better, then those
Mhm.
sideways controllers are a bad time. Except for, as I said, Clubhouse games. It was fine.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like it's painful to use. Like it hurts my wrists after a while.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't ever play anything that's going to take me very long like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Only use the Joy-Cons when they're connected to the Switch. So
I played Clubhouse games while the family was in town, and we were all sick. And we played Yahtzee, and that is a very you barely have to hold the controller, so it doesn't really
Mhm.
wear you out. But if you're playing like I played Mario Kart like that one time, and that was not fun. And I know people have played Smash Brothers like that, and I can only assume that those people are insane.
I'm also going to give a very strange compliment to the Switch, which is I like the packaging.
OLED packaging's good.
Yeah, not a lot of plastic. You just open up the box, slide it out, and there you go.
I kept
no muss, no
my
fuss.
box. It's a good looking box.
Yeah. I always keep the box for stuff like that. In
I
case
do now.
Need to
Yeah.
transport it.
Yeah, I do now.
I mean, I just throw it in the closet. I don't have it on display, but
No. It's in my closet. But should I ever
yeah.
need it?
When I moved a couple years ago, it's like I had all the boxes. I could just throw that shit in the original packaging and throw it in the van.
You know how Nintendo fans are. That box itself one day could be worth $50.
Yeah, you never know.
You got the box.
It's complete in the box.
Like break out in a cold sweat at the GameStop.
Well, and the OLED itself is something of a collector's piece at this point. So
really,
well, I mean, it's so hard to find.
It's getting easier.
easier, but it's still like I've never walked into a store and seen one.
Yeah, we got the white one. That was the
It's-
only one available.
Oh yeah,
That's the one to buy.
Really?
it's a hot piece of ass right there.
I think the white one looks the best, and also like the other one's the neon, which has been available since 2017.
I don't like the
so-
neon because I don't like mismatching Joy-Con.
Oh, do they not have like a black OLED or something?
No, it's white or neon.
Really?
You can have any color you like so long as it's white or neon.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. The way we got this thing, actually, I had mentioned I was on the waiting list at the local game store where we moved from, where we had a few $100 credit because I didn't want to hold a bunch of old games. And I mentioned I was on the waiting list, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you're top of the list. As soon as we get some Switch OLEDs, we'll call you." They didn't call me. My wife, on a whim, called them to see on a random Friday, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we got plenty." So
Plenty.
yeah,
Those assholes. I mean, you could get into the weeds if you really wanted and like get different Joy-Con combinations. I mean, if you're the kind of person who loves wasting money, this is the console for you, I'm afraid.
I did see one thing I saw on a video is Joy-Cons that are shaped like a normal controller.
Yeah, you
Like
can buy those
like
at Walmart.
got cut in half.
Uh-huh.
What is that?
It's what you said. It's like a controller what been cut in half.
Does it fit in the dock if you put those on? That's what I know.
Well, the problem would be, as I sit here staring at my dock, would be that if they're tall enough, I believe your Switch would pop out of the charging station.
Yeah, that's what I was. That's what
You
I
know,
was
the
concerned
SWOLED,
about.
and you have to keep in mind, Derek doesn't know this because he's not, a SWOLED owner, so he doesn't understand that this thing sits very loose in its dock. So the
Yes, it
slightest bit of
does.
pressure could really lift that thing out.
I noticed that too.
Okay, well, yeah, I would not know that. The original isn't quite so flimsy.
Well, I think they are afraid of the screen issue.
Well, there was some screen warping going on with the original.
Well,
Switch.
I mean, like just scratching in general. So they designed the SWOLED's dock so that the screen does not touch anything.
Derek,
Oh.
that makes me think. You're a second class Nindoodler now.
I am.
I'm a bigger Nintendo fan than you.
Third class, if you consider that he never even got a Switch Lite. So
Oh man.
I mean,
Well, I
yeah.
don't see the point in upgrading. I don't. I
this
don't
is
think,
like
I mean,
this is the Derek manifesto for our entire life. Is the I don't see the point in upgrading as he sits there with his original DS in the year 2008,
well, this is a lot different
looking
than
like an
that.
actual caveman. Unga bunga, me play Pokemon Black on original DS.
I don't think the upgrades for the OLED are significant enough to warrant me
No,
paying
they're not.
$250.
Not at all. No, you only get it if you're an idiot like me, or if you're buying a new one like Setzer.
Maybe if my Switch broke, but otherwise I'm
Mhm.
fine. Like
Yeah.
the screen upgrade isn't. I play fine in bed. I don't really care.
I don't know. Mario, he's gonna know.
He's gonna know.
He's gonna know you're playing on the inferior Switch. You didn't give your money.
Mario would be disappointed in me.
He's making a list. He's checking it twice.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to play Odyssey 2 or whatever. No.
Your your Nintendo credit score will be too low.
Exactly. Like, we're sorry. It says you can't buy
I
it.
mean, that's funny when you consider that Nintendo, at this point, literally does have a Nintendo credit score with the new mission and reward system they have.
Really?
What is that if not a Nintendo credit score?
Well, this is the same thing as Game Pass. So
It's a little different because these rewards are super easy to get, but then they go really quick because you buy all the icons and it goes, hey, you gonna come back next week, get some more. And then they show you bullshit on the website that's like, hey, guess what? In a few weeks, we're going to release limited edition keychains that look like 64 boxes, and it costs the same currency you used to buy those icons. So hope you haven't been buying up those icons.
I haven't.
I bought every single goddamn icon.
I'm sure you can pay for points though, right?
No, you cannot pay for points.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's surprisingly.
Don't worry, they'll find a way.
Yeah, no.
I'm still salty about the stupid 3D All-Stars pins that I didn't get because I did all the stuff I needed to get them, but then when the day came, the website was down when I tried to access it, and then by the time it was up, it had been sold out.
That's what you get.
Not my Nintendo pins.
Oh, I know. I
I
wanted
need
the
to put
one
them
that
on my
looked.
messenger
Yes,
bag.
yes, I did. I
I
want
need
to.
everyone to know what kind of things I'm into.
I know. I know. Need people to know I'm an idiot. Not just like from listening to me, but from seeing me.
Well, I look forward to further Switch adventures.
Yeah, if I can find anything to play on it around here.
I will say that the triangle strategy does get more gameplay heavy later on. I'm on chapter 6, and the gameplay story balance is a little more balanced.
The concept of a game getting more gameplay heavy.
Well, I mean, it starts off of like an hour of name dropping and
Oh my god.
Lore.
lore crap.
And multiple hours. Multiple hours of lore.
I heard. Oh god, that. I mean, I really wasn't interested in that game, anyways. But
But it's really fun with like the gameplay and stuff. So, but yeah, it just takes a while to set into its groove. But once it's there, I think you'll enjoy it. But it takes some patience. Cheston, I know you have ADHD, so you're gonna have to
For
look
you.
elsewhere.
It's not fun to make fun of my condition.
Yeah, it's funny.
Not laughing with you; they're laughing at you.
Which is also fun.
Yes, it is also very fun. Bullying is cool. So I will go next.
Wait, shouldn't I go next? Because I have all this stupid bullshit, and then you have Elden Ring.
I'm just gonna talk about Horizon.
Oh, that's
for
right.
2 seconds.
Oh, that game exists?
Yeah. Yes, because I wanted to talk about it before it gets forgotten about.
Before it's erased from the Jedi archives.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's gone.
So I talked about Horizon Forbidden West briefly in our last podcast 2 weeks ago. Not much I can really say that I didn't say already. A sequel, definitely not for Setzer, as he did not like the first one. It's still a very Western style open world game where it's here's all your map icons, go to them. So you're checking off a checklist. Something that the game developers on Twitter thinks is a great idea, which we might talk about when we talk about Elden Ring later. But I think the story is really interesting. Like, I love the world. The lore is just fascinating. It's not treading any new territory or anything, but it's just fun to hear and listen to. So
So I have a question about the lore in that game.
Yeah.
I was spoiled on Horizon ZD's story before I played it, and when you talk about the lore of FW, does it have any actual thematic content besides like kind of trite environmentalism? Does it have anything more going on?
Oh, I don't think it has too many themes to it. No, it's more just telling a story without. It didn't feel too preachy to me.
It's an
what I mean?
Ubisoft game.
Yeah.
In that regard,
But it doesn't. But I don't think it ever. This one didn't feel like to me it was trying to present itself as something more. Because it's just like a video game story to me, but a really interesting one. I look at it kind of like it's a jack of all trades kind of game. Like, how people used to describe Uncharted as just a big hodgepodge of different genres pushed together.
I think they describe Nathan Drake as a jack of all trades, not Uncharted.
No, I remember Uncharted specifically was thought of as that sort of game.
Seems like a bad way to describe that game.
Well, that's what it was back then, man. I don't know what you want.
I can
Better
see
descriptions.
Well, maybe. I mean, people still say things are the Dark Souls of X, so they've never been good at coming with those things. But I look at Horizon as like part Uncharted because it has the climbing stuff. I think it actually does the climbing better than Uncharted because it's not so. The camera doesn't point you in the direction, so to speak. I think it's part every open world game ever made. Part Monster Hunter because you can target specific parts and you need them for like upgrading gear and stuff. And it's part Mass Effect 2 and squad assembly and you have like loyalty missions, though they don't tie into your person's survival or not. But it just ties a lot of things together. It's even part Mass Effect 2 because there might be a trilogy in the works. I can't say too much, but I feel like
they indicated this was the end. Then again, this game sold a lot, so
I can't say too much because my wife is playing at the end mission probably later today, and she can hear this. But I'm pretty sure things are not over. So I'll just leave it at that.
Just whisper it into the microphone. She won't hear.
No, but of course, like unfortunately with this game, like I really enjoyed it. Like I loved my time with it. But this is a game that's going to be totally forgotten about in a month because just like last time, it's been eaten up. But we'll talk about what is eating it up later. So, Cheston, what have you been playing?
Can I say that it kind of feels like it's already been forgotten?
I mean, I really enjoyed my time with it, so I won't be forgetting it.
I'm not saying
anytime
it's
soon,
not
but-
enjoyable, but I'm just saying I feel like that thing came and went
Well, I think it released at a time that was ill-advised.
again. Again,
yeah, again.
those goobers.
Because I think it could have got more people talking about it for longer. Because like a lot of games like that usually get like a couple of weeks where they're like in the spotlight, and Horizon got less than a week, and it actually got eaten up by hype for Elden Ring. So I feel bad for it in that way. But yeah, that's just how it be. Release your games at different times, or pay attention to what's coming out around you. But yeah, Cheston, what have you been up to?
Right. Set a timer for 10 good minutes. You ready, boys?
I'm ready.
Buckle in.
Mm-hmm.
Before I click the timer, I have ordered these not in order of preference this time. I've ordered them based on chronology, like in my playing them, not in their coming out. I don't have time for that. All right, I'm clicking start. All right, we're gonna start with Earthbound. I've been sleepy lately, so I haven't played much Earthbound. I'm 4 sacred places. What are they called?
Your sanctuaries.
I'm 4 your sanctuaries in out of 7, right?
8.
Oh, 8. Okay, well, so I'm approaching the 5th soon. I will be taking a boat to get the 5th one. Have poo. Poo is had.
Right.
Still a good game. Only thing I would add recently is that I went to the Stoic Club. Do you remember that place, Derek?
Yeah, it's where the people are talking about a big old rock in the middle of it.
It's the people who are like really artsy fartsy and they're highfalutin and they're like
They're pretentious. Yeah.
Yes. That's a fun bit.
Yeah, I enjoy that.
Yeah. So I got that.
I
Next.
enjoy what they do with it in the post game too. So.
Oh, good. Good to know. Next is a game called Nobody Saves the World. Nobody is a little white guy, and I mean like literally white, not like a Caucasian male. I mean like he's just like he looks like a stick figure kind of thing, and he
Kind of
can
like I want to be the guy.
Sure. And no, I'll hold on. In a minute, you're gonna want to look this up. So the the gist of this game is that this character can transform into a million different things, and you unlock them slowly over time by earning achievements with each different form that you get. This is I have written in my notes, shitty clickfest action RPG. I wanted to like this game, and I liked it for about 5 minutes until I realized it was just an endless treadmill where I wasn't actually enjoying anything I was doing. But the game had all these achievements and bells and whistles to make me think that there was something around the bend that I would like, and there wasn't. So I stopped after about 2 hours. I decided there was nothing else for me in this game, and it doesn't help that I think it might actually have the worst art style I have ever seen in my life. It looks like a 1990s, early 2000s Cartoon Network Flash RPG. They used to have these RPGs on Cartoon Network where you were like one of the characters, like Robot Jones, and you'd walk around a really flat-looking environment.
Wow.
Link to the Past style.
I just looked it up. That's exactly what it looks like. That's a
Thank
really
you.
good description.
Nailed it.
Yeah, that's like I'm thinking of like that summer beach resort game
Yes,
where you're
that's
walking
what I
around.
was thinking of. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I played it, it took me a minute to realize I was like, this art style I hate, and there's something it reminds me of. And then one day I was just like, wait a minute, I used to play a game like this where I could be Mike, Lou, or Og, and walk around the island and do boring RPG stuff. And here we are. Yeah, so don't recommend this game. It's on Game Pass though, if you feeling risky. Splatoon 2, a known quantity.
Getting that out of the systems for 3, I guess.
No, I'm very excited for 3. My wife loves Splatoon, so Splatoon 3 is something that we will play. There's no question. I just kind of had the hankering for Splatoon 2. It's one of those games that's for some reason, well, actually, I know why, but like the Switch had that big loaded first year, and for some reason, Splatoon 2 is always left off of that list of big releases. I feel like, it's Breath of the Wild, it's Odyssey, and then Splatoon 2 is like a footnote. And I think the reason why is because it's basically just Splatoon 1 again,
Yes, they even had the same final boss.
but I was able to download the DLC, which makes it not like the first game because the DLC has its own campaign, which is actually really good. It's it's based on smaller stages that are actually hard. Like it is actually kind of a challenging game, and it has all of the Splatoon aesthetics that you have come to love and expect. So, before Splatoon 3 comes out, I do recommend this DLC. I think it's $11 on Amazon right now. It's pretty good. Nice
Oh, you bought it.
bite-sized thing. Yeah, I actually got the DLC. It's good. A medieval. This is Setzer's shooter thing, boomer shooter.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, so I paid $12 and I got like every boomer shooter that Setzer's ever mentioned on this podcast, I think. And I played a medieval because of the 10 or 11 games that came with that bundle. That one looked like the most interesting to me, and I think it is a pretty fun game. I have not gotten a chance to play too much because I had family in town and my computer is in the place where said family stays. But the time that I did have with it was really, it is what you expect. It is a to the point shooter experience. It gets you right in, doesn't futz around with a bunch of boring stuff that you don't want to care about. There's no unnecessary RPG mechanics, no in your face stupid storyline. You just run and gun, and the running and gunning feels good. In particular, I like the creative weapons that are in this game because it's like a medieval fantasy type, so you have like a sword that shoots beams out of it, which I think is fun. I have a trident that is pretty cool, and my favorite thing about the trident is when you get the alt fire ability and you just start blowing up everything in sight. That is a pretty good feeling. So I look forward to checking that out here and there. I'll stick with that one, and then after I finish that, I have Dusk downloaded to try next.
Yeah. And then Prot is right around the corner for you.
Yes, Prot and Ion Maiden, I suppose.
Yeah, I haven't played Ion Maiden.
But I've heard it's good.
Yes, me too.
Yes. Kirby and the Forgotten Land. The only note I have next to that is hell yeah. I thought that demo was really good.
Yeah, pretty fun.
Yeah, not much to say about it. It looks great on an OLED screen, I have to say.
As I typically don't play demos of games I know for sure I'm buying. So I have not played this Kirby demo. Tell me what Wild Style is, other than
it's just
hard mode.
It's kind of, yeah. It's more like the enemies just do more damage and the enemies take more damage. So you can't just blow through literally everything with one ability from beginning to end. You have to kind of sometimes do a little bit more, but honestly, I don't know. To me, adding the third dimension to this game has made a lot of difference in how engaging it feels.
Okay.
And the mouthful mode stuff is really cute. Like some of the stuff they have you do with that is fun. Not a hard game, and don't really want it to be, but it's definitely more engaging than Kirby has been in a while.
It's not Kirby Souls.
No.
Well, I wouldn't want that.
Speaking of Kirby in a while, I played Kirby Superstar afterwards, and I've played through the first 3 games of that, which are all basically just Kirby-esque Kirby games. Next, I'm going to take on the Great Cave Offensive, which is like Kirby meets Metroidvania.
That's where all the tryhards say is the best one.
That one is pretty cool. So
they're wrong, but
well, it's cool though.
It's cool.
F-Zero X is a 64 game that runs at 60 frames per second.
That it does.
That's all I can say about it.
It very proudly does.
Yes, and finally, with my last Wait, what?
Speaking of F-Zero X-Zero, does this count for continuing the franchise like we discussed a few weeks back?
No, not at all.
So remakes or re-releases don't count.
especially not on this service.
They count if
okay.
they're separate things. They're part. This is part of the N64 on-demand thing.
Yeah, so
I
no.
see. I see.
Big no. Big time no. Last but not least, Monster Hunter Rise. I am so sorry, guys. I was wrong. This game is really cool. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, you know what? All my previous dislike of Monster Hunter comes from this time that Derek bought a PSP game, and that game just kind of threw you into it and didn't really ease you in at all. This game gives you just a little, just enough. It gives you just enough to get a feel for what you need to know, and then it lets you start going mission by mission. And I really want to play more of this game. Only a little demo version, or no, it's the whole game, but it's only a week that I can have it for free. And I'm planning on playing it enough to see if I really want to go whole hog. But so far, I am just loving things that I know as a kid I didn't like. Like, I like that the enemies don't have health bars because it's kind of a cool touch that you have to watch the enemy's body when you knock it over and sit there and think, okay, I got to make sure that's actually dead. Like, did I actually finish that? Can I actually go skin it? And things like there's no lock on, right? Unless I missed that tooltip, there's no lock on, is there?
I believe there is.
Is there?
I
Well,
don't.
there was in past games, but
Oh, I mean, there might be, but it's not. It's so ineffective.
yeah,
don't
it's not like a
use it.
traditional
Okay.
lock
Well, I
on.
don't think there is unless I missed the tooltip, and I do like that too because instead of this feeling like just another 3D action game, it gives this a bit of a more methodical, thoughtful feel to its combat. I mean, it's still hacking and slashing at some point, but you do have to do. Your character doesn't feel like a totally unstoppable badass.
Well, you got to aim for specific parts.
Well,
So.
yeah. So far, I haven't really gone to anything where I have to do that, but I look forward to that. That sounds great. So far, I've just done a few missions, and I built the dual blades this morning so I could try those out and see how I feel about those.
Yeah, it's part of the fun, finding your weapon.
Yeah, and I like the. I don't know if this is new for this game, but they have those wire bugs, the little mobility.
That is
perks.
new for this game.
Yeah, those are
Yeah, those are cool. I like those.
They're neat. They're
Yeah.
neat.
I like zipping around the stage and finding areas above with different mats for my gear.
Well, my recommendation for you is considering I know you're on a budget, is to actually just buy World because you probably get it for like $9.
Yeah, but I want to play this one. The World's not on the Switch.
World, yes, but this World on the Xbox.
Yeah, but this game's like $40 usually.
Okay, well, fair enough.
I got gift card money. I don't know that I'm gonna buy it right away. I'm gonna play out this trial week and see how I feel about it and see where we're at there.
I think World's a better game, also.
I'm curious. I know that people have said that World is like the one that makes it more approachable, but I'm curious what it does that this one doesn't.
Well, I should also watch about me praising World too much because hardcore Monster Hunter fans are very anti-World. So,
What does it do?
For
That
whatever
what does
reason.
World do that this one doesn't?
So
nothing really.
well, my impression is I haven't played Rise. Okay, but what I've heard is that Rise's level design is a little more like pre-World games, whereas World's level design was a big departure for Monster Hunter.
Yeah, Rise is small segmented areas, like
Yeah.
because it's for a handheld pretty much.
I don't like that though, because for the handheld.
Whereas World is is like bigger. The maps are just bigger.
Yeah.
I won't. It's
And
not
denser.
open world, but you have to actually hunt for the monsters a little bit instead of like knowing where to go. It's a little more complex. But I mean, if you're having fun, you're having fun. So I'm glad to hear that.
There is a lock on of some kind. I don't think it's as, like I said, or like you said, I don't think it's quite as useful as it would be in other games, but it's there. So, well, hey, you learned something new, but I don't think that'll change my opinion. I still really like this game.
What weapons don't you like? Have you tried a bunch of stuff?
I mean, I really haven't had that much. I mean, I've only played probably 2 hours.
Okay.
And I at first I was just kind of wanting to get a feel for how the missions work, and then this morning after I felt like I had a feel for how the missions worked, that's when I went and I started to build. So I'm gonna try the dual blades, and then I'll go from there, and I'll give everything a shot if I keep playing.
Have you hunted any big monsters yet, or just
No,
the little?
it's just been little stuff, but I found
Mm.
that to be pretty enjoyable.
Okay, well, you haven't played the real game yet.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm excited about because I like it a lot. And I haven't even played the game.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you're in a glorified
One way to
tutorial
put
at the
it.
moment.
No,
So
that's what makes me excited. I'm like, holy crap! I can't imagine fighting a boss in this game. It's got to be incredible. But,
well, that's why I told you to play multiplayer. The
well,
bosses
yeah,
are a
I
lot
know. I
better in
figured.
that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I plan to play mostly single player, but I certainly will play some multiplayer.
Well, Rise cuts you off at a point. You can only go to like 3-star or 4-star difficulty before you have to do multiplayer stuff.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, I don't mind doing multiplayer. It's just
That's the way to play it. But I mean, also, it is helpful for learning fights if you do single player, just so you're not dragging,
well,
dead weight.
my fear is I don't ever want to go online and be that guy who's people are like, oh boy.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
There's
Okay.
so many of that guy. It's not gonna be a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
God, this idiot again.
You will quickly become acquainted with the legend of the JP shitter when you play Monster Hunter Online.
It's like that must be the opposite of Splatoon, where the JP shitter is gonna wreck you
Totally the
mercilessly.
opposite. When you see a
Yeah,
Japanese
like in
name,
Monster
it's
Hunter.
like, ugh.
Yeah, when you see Hiragana in Monster Hunter, it's probably like a little kid who doesn't know what he's doing.
But what if you see katakana? What if you see a Westabu?
Like probably still a little kid.
Yeah.
I would say the most important thing for you to focus on is survival. Like, as long as you're not dying, you're probably going to be fine.
Yeah. Well, and there's so much for me to learn, which is why I'm sticking to single player. Like I've just started to figure out because there's so much when you finish a mission, like so many little items and stuff. So I've started to weed out what some of the stuff in my inventory does. I should probably explore cooking here pretty soon. Don't know anything about that.
Does Rise make the so tasty noise?
I don't know,
remember. I don't remember.
It's got raw meat. I have to cook that raw meat. I assume that gives you good perks for boss fights.
If you go to the cantina, you can get stats up and stuff.
Okay. Well, I just figured because right now they usually give you enough rations to help your stamina out during missions.
In my experience, it never really was a problem, but it's also been a while, so maybe I'm forgetting.
Also, that game looks really good for a Switch game.
Yep.
Don't know how it runs and looks the way it does on a Switch.
It almost looks like a PS2 game. I'm so impressed.
Almost. It's close.
It's weird. That RE engine, that's a magical little engine, I think.
It's a good engine.
You know it doesn't stand for Resident Evil, right?
What does it stand for?
Reach for the moon. That's why it's a hand reaching for the moon.
Oh, okay, but they know that abbreviations don't work like that.
Who knows what they know, man? They're Capcom. They're crazy.
Well, they know what they're doing, though. They've been really good lately, to the point where I can look past any shitty logos and think Street Fighter 6 might be okay.
We'll get there.
Yeah. We will get there.
Somebody's been looking ahead.
Yeah. Somebody's been looking ahead. So is that it for you, Cheston?
I mean, yeah, what else do you want? I have one other thing, but it's the same thing everybody else has in the world.
All right. So now we're going to talk about Elden Ring. Setzer, why don't you tell us what you think so far?
Yeah, I'm really impressed with this game. I am about 110 hours in. There are multiple areas that I have yet to explore and bosses I have yet to fight. I could have ended the game by now, and don't get me wrong, the end is definitely in sight. I've got the whole map filled out, but I don't want to. I want to keep playing more. This is the rare game that is 100 plus hours and does not feel like it's overstaying its welcome.
There's always new stuff to see. You want to explore, there's plenty to do.
Yeah, I find myself wishing for a Chalice dungeon mode from Bloodborne, where you can play replayable random dungeons. But I'm very happy with what I've gotten. I think that this game, Red Dead Redemption 2 is an odyssey. Elden Ring is an adventure.
It's about exploring new stuff.
Yes.
Seeing what's out there. You mentioned it briefly before, unrecorded, but you said this is like a world-class in level design. And I definitely agree because, most open world games, even stuff I really enjoy, like The Witcher 3, most fields in an open world game are kind of just fields, they're generic. I can't tell
Yeah.
one from the other, but every distinct region in Elden Ring feels different. I remember specific crops of land for specific reasons. It's a very interesting world. You would think, like, usually the worry for a kind of game like this is that because they're focusing on the open world, the more linear dungeon styles are going to suffer from it. But I actually feel like the legacy dungeons, which is what they call like the bigger ones, are handled just as well as they are in like Dark Souls.
Yes.
They're all very interesting and they're all like very unique. It's just amazing how many different sorts of areas are in this game. It's impressive.
The lore is very interesting. The characters are more interesting than they've ever been in a From game. Thematically, it's the same song and dance that From always does, where it's the ruling class is so obsessed with maintaining power that they've basically broken the natural order of the world. But it's expressed in a more interesting way, I think, and in a more thorough way. As you get further into the game, that'll become more clear. So yeah, I'm really loving it. I will say, if there's a fly in the ointment, I think the gameplay balance is a little bit off. Dark Souls is traditionally more like trading blows, like or like a game of chess, And Bloodborne was like speed chess, right? Where everything is just much faster. In Elden Ring, a lot of the time it kind of feels like your character from Dark Souls and the enemies are from Bloodborne. Especially later in the game, lots of enemies have attacks where if you get hit, you're stun locked and dead. No ifs, ands, or buts. And they will combo. And you have a very, very brief window in which to attack.
Right. I was fighting Morgott the other night, who is one of the Elden Lords. They have this like spinning hammer attack where if it just glances you once, you're stunned and it's over. Like,
yeah.
It's just, there's just attacks like that. You gotta know when to dodge.
Well, especially later in the game, it'll really be like, the enemy is comboing. Very, very long combos. And they'll just repeat them. And you have a very, very narrow window in which to attack, which I think, kind of feels less like Dark Souls. It feels more like Dark Souls 2, actually, now that I think about it, which is kind of a low point in the series. And, to me, I realize some people appreciate that style because it's, challenging. But to me, sometimes it can feel a little exhausting, where it's just like waiting,
I completely know what you're talking about because there have been bosses where I'm just like, I have this person down to like a fraction of their health, and they're in this long chain. I'm just waiting for a chance to attack, and it's just it's agonizing. It's like because like you want to risk it and go in and for like just one quick blow and finish it, but you realize that if you miss, like you're done and all that.
Yeah, game over.
So it can be frustrating, but again, like with most Souls games, for the most part, when I die, I feel like it is my fault in some way. So.
Yeah.
So that's good. You mentioned like that. Your that was your one complaint. I have my own. I feel like some of the bosses are a little, it's part of the nature of it being open world, but some of them are like samey feeling. Like all the dragons fight alike, and a lot of the dungeon bosses are reused a lot, or sometimes they're like you get to fight two of them to make it like a little slightly different challenge. And that's okay. Like I kind of look at it as like the bosses you fight in mini dungeons aren't real bosses. They're like
mini bosses.
They're like really strong random encounters, mini bosses, as you said. Whereas the Elden Lords, which are all really hard, are the true bosses.
Yes.
But I still think like, when I'm fighting a dragon on the field, it'd be nice if there was some variance to the strategy I'm using. But, that's nitpicky.
Yeah, the way I look at those is kind of, there's already such a variety that it'll be like 20 hours between, seeing this boss and a new variant of it. So I'm all right with it. But
that's fair. And so far from the main bosses you have to fight, and I don't even know if you have to fight this guy, but in order to get up to the Atlas Plateau, you have to fight like this magma dragon guy who isn't like the other dragons. And so far, that is the only boss I've fought that was kind of like mediocrely designed, because I kind of just ran up to him and like slashed away and beat him on like my second try. It wasn't like it wasn't hard. It was just like mashing a button pretty much. But other than that, like the bosses have been great. I think some of the best in the franchise.
Yeah, I think some of the bosses are gimmick bosses, which always, I don't really like in any of these games. Renala's like that to a degree. Have you fought Radon?
I haven't. I feel like I went out of order because I beat the Morgott or whatever the Elden Lord's name was before Radon from Calum.
Morgott?
Yeah, whatever.
In Leyndell?
Because I haven't done much of Calum yet.
Yeah, you're a little out of order, but not bad. But, I would say Margit, Godric, and Morgott are relatively straightforward Souls bosses. And Renala's second phase is a pretty straightforward Souls boss. Renala's first phase, the entire Radon fight, and the Rykard fight, who, you'll find him in Altus Plateau. Tricky Ricky hiding in the hothouse. Those fights were quite disappointing for me.
Well, Renala's first form is so mindless. It's just like find the person that's glowing and throwing books at you, smash them, move on. Yeah,
and the Rykard fight is similarly pretty mindless. And the Radon fight is an absolute ball buster. I might have been underleveled when I played it, but in any case, I really, really did not enjoy that fight whatsoever.
Well, since I'm out of order, I might be overleveled for it. So
yeah, it's not a typical fight. So, my feeling is level is not going to modulate the difficulty on that one a whole lot.
All right, well, then I shall see what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's one of the few fights where I was like, okay, whatever. I'm going to summon two guys. And one of the guys that I ended up summoning to help me had a build that was like tailor-made just to screw Radon over. And he carried that fight. So what can you do? I was just glad that it was over.
That's what that thing's there for. Like, people, summoning is not cheating. It's there for a reason.
It's a tool in the game. And if it's if I'm going to have more fun summoning, then I'm going to summon,
Exactly.
Simple as. I don't have anything to prove about how good I am at a video game, of all things.
I was in the Blood Manor or Volcano Manor, and I was fighting the mid-boss there. It's like this big fat thing that can puff up and roll around.
Oh, the Godskin guy.
Yeah. And I was having trouble with him, and I was disappointed that there was no summoning signs around him. I had to just tough it out. And I think I was probably a little underleveled for that, but I did beat it.
Have you found the Mimic tier?
No.
He's a special summon. If you want the best Spear Dash in the game, I guess I should say, go find the Mimic tier.
All right, I will look out for that.
He's out of the way, so good luck.
Is it you get this from the Mimic boss fight that I've heard about?
So you have to fight the Mimic boss. You have to beat the Mimic boss to get to where he is, but he's tucked away down like a whole other area.
Look into it, because I've been maining the Sentinels or whatever. One of the first ones you get, like the two knights that. Because they're kind of tanky. And then when I use a rune arc, which will momentarily power you up, I use Godric Headless Swordsman because I don't have enough MP to summon normally. And that's okay too, but. I will look for, because I could always use better ashes, that's for sure. Yeah, my MO for boss is 2 or 3 good old tries. If that doesn't work, summon the Mimic. If that doesn't work, after a couple more tries, summon some gold phantoms. I play slightly differently than you. I kind of just run my head into it until I can beat it. I've only summoned gold phantoms on one boss, I think, but I'm just weird like that, I don't know. Yeah, I don't have the patience for that anymore. I'm not opposed to it, but I think the fact that they've kind of eliminated running back so much has saved me a lot. So I'm just like, you know what? I can afford to waste like 20 minutes trying to struggle with this boss. I don't care. Yeah. I mean, I'll typically, like, my absolute time limit is like an hour spent on a boss. After that, same. I'm like, Yeah, after an hour, it's like, okay. Yeah. I've had my fun. Let's call someone in. But this is pretty much the total opposite of Horizon Forbidden West in like every way possible. Like even like sour grapes on Twitter, apparently. Even the storytelling is just completely different because Horizon's pretty straightforward in that storytelling, and this is a Souls game, so it has story up front, but it's not it's pretty surface level. In order to like understand the lore of the world, you have to do some digging for yourself, which I don't really do because I don't care that much. But I understand that there's some good stuff in there. But that's just how they approach things, and yeah, I mean, it's just kind of refreshing after like a big checklist game like Horizon going to this and being told like just go wherever, just have fun.
Yeah, do what you need to do.
Again, like you haven't played Breath of the Wild, but this is exactly how Breath of the Wild does it. Like there's no like checklist. It's just like go. They do have a quest book or whatever that tells you like your side quests and stuff, which I actually think this game should have too. I know that people probably disagree with me, but I think it can get easy to forget the NPCs you've talked to that tell you where to go.
Yeah.
But that's just my personal preference. I can't blame people for not wanting that. But other than that, though, Breath of the Wild handles their open world in the exact same way. So I think that's why you would enjoy that.
Yeah, I look forward to it. But on the topic of a journal, I'm kind of a similar mind. I wish that at the very least there were notes on people's names that when you spoke to them, they would be more clear about where they're going.
Oh yeah, I am so bad with names that I mean in general. So so it's this game where they're just like, yeah, you gotta go talk to this NPC who moves to X location after you talk to them. Like, I'm not ashamed to admit it. I've used the guide many times to find where I'm supposed to go for these.
Here's
NPC
what
quests.
you need to do. You need to make a list of Elden Ring NPCs, like your contact list in your phone.
Yeah.
See, then you can remember them.
Give them a ring-a-ding.
Well, no, I mean, like, give them a stupid name, like the names you give people in your phone.
Well, that's true. Well, Renala would be Witch Lady.
I feel like some of those names wouldn't be very useful, though.
No.
Witch Lady? Which one?
Which witch is which?
There's a lot of witch ladies. Cheston, this is you don't have as much time as me or Setzer. And for reference, I think I've got 40 hours, so I'm way behind Setzer in that. Cheston, you've got a little bit. It's your first Souls game you've actually tried to play. So what do you think?
I tried to play Dark Souls a little bit.
But this is the first one that.
I got Dark Souls on a Steam sale, so like I wasn't even that invested. I paid. I got this game. I actually purchased this game. I mean, I was kind of just fascinated with everything I had heard about it from all the scuttlebutt on the internet. What with its open world design, hearkening to Breath of the Wild, and Breath of the Wild is, to my taste, not my favorite game, but I think it's the best game I've ever played. And part of my love for that game was the freedom that pretty much every play session, I opened it up and said, well, this is what I could do, this is where I was doing last time, and I could keep going that way, or I could just try something else. And there's nothing in the game that's going to tell me not to do that. This is, from what I can tell so far, pretty similar. I got through the tutorial cave and had a good time there learning about, I don't know anything about Souls stuff, so like, this is my first exposure to the fact that other players can leave notes. Like, I didn't know that was a thing. And like the blood stains, seeing how people died, I assume is what that does.
Yes.
Which is fun because, like, when I first walked out of the very first step you could take, I saw a blood stain and I thought, what does that do? And then I watched a guy just jump off a cliff. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yep. A lot of them are like that.
Yeah, that's it's kind of fun. So then I got out into Limgrave, and true to what I was expecting, the game was just like, all right, see you, good luck. And I just kind of like sauntered around. I found a merchant, and I paid way too much money for a telescope because I was thinking like Breath of the Wild style. Did not think that telescope is especially useful yet. Maybe that changes. And then I wandered south and found a swampy area and found a treasure chest that I was excited to open that teleported me halfway across the map to an area full of enemies that could kill me in like 2 shots. So then I was like, oh shit. And then I realized I couldn't fast travel out of that area because it was in a cave. And so then I had to plot an escape that involved sneaking past all the enemies because I could not kill any of them. And that was when I quit. And I wasn't like a quit out of frustration. It was like, I didn't have any more time. But I had a great time with that. It just, that kind of experience to me at this point is more appealing than something like, and I hate to kick a dog while it's down, but something like Horizon where, you know, you kind of know what you're going to do every time you play. The game has a very clear path it wants you to take. And sure, there are some side quests along the way, but, you know, there is a very clear narrative focus, and it has a very clear order that you do that narrative in. And that, at this point, especially with how little time I have for some of these games, feels very constraining. So this kind of game where I can just dip in and do what I want, and then dip out and come back and check in here and there, like, that's pretty appealing to me. I don't foresee myself. It's hard to picture finishing this game, to be honest. It just seems very intimidating. But I do look forward to checking in with it. You know, it's gonna be probably like a once a week, twice a week kind of thing, given my constraints. But I'm looking forward to those 1 or 2 times a week for sure.
You know, the game, if you don't want to do exploration, you don't want to do optional bosses, it's actually pretty short. There's a very quick path.
But I don't really want, like, to me, the fun of this game doesn't seem like... I don't think, like, putting this game on my list of completed games is, like, a real end goal I'm looking for. It's more like I want to experience this thing. Like, I think they have compiled a very impressive experience with Elden Ring, and I think it's one of those games that a lot of people aren't going to finish, but is going to be also a game that a lot of people list as their favorite game of all time, even if they didn't finish it, because I just think it's so massive and so impressive. Technically a little bit messy on the Xbox, not going to lie, but you know, that's, from what I understand, that's part of the FromSoft experience.
Yeah,
I got my first death. It gave me the option, of course, to go to my last grace spot, or whatever those little statues are called that you can warp back to. Yeah. And when I picked, like, spawn from your last grace, instead of sitting me back there, the game just very, very nonchalantly crashed in a way that I was like, I wasn't sure it crashed, but it just, like, all of a sudden I was just on my dashboard. And I was like, oh, well, okay.
Well, believe it or not, I hear the best way to play this game right now is the PS4 version on PS5. Because it runs at a constant 60 and the graphic downgrades aren't that much. Because, like, I do notice the occasional judder, and I'm playing the PS5 version for record.
Are you playing preferred? Are you playing?
I'm playing performance.
Okay.
Yes. For this, like, I don't think this game's no offense to it, but I don't think it's like the kind of game where I'd put on graphic fidelity.
No, I wouldn't either. I would choose performance. And I did. I think it looks nice as it is. So
right. But back to your point about how you're like, this is like a game you can play in short bursts. What?
I didn't say short bursts. I said once or twice a week.
Okay.
I would like to play it for more than that, because I feel like at some point there's going to be, like, I've heard about the existence of, like, castles, and I don't imagine those are things you can just romp through in an hour.
Oh, you can.
Okay.
Like, I got through the first main one in about an hour. Not counting the boss fight. The boss fight will take you a little longer than that. What I was going to say, though, is, like, the first time I played Breath of the Wild, I think I was harder on it because I tried to, like, just play it all at once, you know, like, just push through it all. Mm-hmm. But I gained a lot more appreciation for it when I came back to it, and I just played, like, in short little segments. And I think that Elden Ring is similar in the same way. Like, you can play for, like, an hour and get a couple things done and have a pretty good time and just be done for the day.
I'm not worried about completing it. I just want to see this.
You can have a good time.
I just want to see this world. And I will say, you know, this is my first Souls that I have actually owned, not on a Steam sale. My time with Hollow Knight has come up a few times playing this. Like, there are some similarities there that I don't know if Hollow Knight drew from Souls games more than I realized. But some of that stuff has prepared me. Like, you know, some of the vagaries of the map as it is. Like, that's just how I like it, baby. That's from Hollow Knight. That's how that game was. And there's some other stuff with the combat that just reminds me of how Hollow Knight functioned. Of course, there's big differences. Hollow Knight's 2D and all that, but, you know, it's just the way you approach things, to me, makes me think of the same mindset I had to engage with to finish Hollow Knight.
Well, I look forward to hearing your progress, since you're kind of new to Souls games.
Yeah. I'd like it to at least fight the Dung Lord at some point. The Dung Eater
the Dung
or
Eater?
whatever.
Yeah.
It's such a funny, like, when they're going through that intro video, and there's like, the Dung Eater! I was like, oh, okay.
Hated by all.
Like, God, imagine that being your thing, eating shit, literally. God. What a gross thing that guy is.
Wait till you meet him.
I can only imagine. My favorite Hollow Knight boss is actually poop-based, so I'm looking forward to it.
But yeah, will that do it for Elden Ring this week?
I think so.
Yeah, we'll, I assume, check back in because I think Setzer will probably have it finished by next week. I might too. I actually feel like I'm at a point where I could clear up the bosses really quick if I wanted to, but we'll see. I do
if I
want to play.
finish it by next week, you should probably check in on my family.
Yeah, I might need to check in on your children.
Something might have gone wrong.
I mean, I want to play Stranger of Paradise when that comes out, and that comes out next week. But we'll see if I can. But I guess now we can get on to the news.
Jordan Middler of VGC writes about a level of floppitude not even I expected. Platinum and Square Enix Babylon's Fall managed to pull fewer than 650 concurrent Steam users on its launch day. Initial reviews seem to indicate that the game isn't bad, but unfortunately bland, slow, and forgettable. Do you think the combined might of one of Japan's most powerful publishers and star developers can turn this ship around?
No.
Do you think there's a Japanese studio better suited to maintaining a live service game?
Didn't they make Final Fantasy XIV? Wait,
Well,
isn't Babylon's Fall Square?
It's published by Square.
Published by
Oh my
Square.
God.
Well, I looked at they were trying like to make their own kind of Destiny. Is what I felt
Mhm.
Babylon's Fall was.
Yeah, if you look at the menus especially.
I mean, look, no offense to Square, but I look at the people that play Square Enix games and I look at the people that play Destiny games. There's no overlap. You know what I mean? Like, there's the people that want to play Destiny don't play Final Fantasy VII Remake. I mean, I just don't know what you want. This being a flop was no surprise. It reminds me of when Wonderful 101 came out in Japan, and they would say, like, oh, Wonderful 101 sales, you know. But this is actually pretty much that bad. 600? That's pathetic.
Yeah. Almost 650.
This is a game that people were actually excited about before the first trailer came out. Because, like, people were like, oh, I can't wait to see more about Babylon's Fall. And then that trailer happened, and it's like, I'm out. And then everyone got out. So, kind of like a dumb suit had an idea and it failed. I mean, I'd say the sooner they bail on this, the better. Much like Anthem, you know?
Yeah, and not Capcom's recently announced Exo Primal.
Yeah.
Anthem 2, Exo Primal.
I was on board at first, and then because when it looked like a Dino Crisis, and then when I read about it, I was like, oh, it's multiplayer only, and it's Destiny, but with dinosaurs. Like, okay, thanks.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah.
I briefly watched a bit of Babylon's Flop on Twitch, and I was morbidly impressed with how awful this game looks. The guy was playing on PS5, and it looked, honest to God, like a PS2 game.
Yeah, it looks bad.
Yeah. The level design is just a straight linear hallway, basically, with a little bit of lava here and there. And the combat, the guy was complaining. He was like, I'm already at endgame, and there's so few people playing this game that I literally cannot find 3 people to play these in-game stages with, so I have to play them alone. And apparently, health and damage does not scale based on player count, like in most of these games.
Okay.
So the guy is just like slowly whittling down these enemies that are intended to be fought by 4 people at once, right? And
brutal.
Yeah, and it just looks miserable.
Sounds like a cry for help.
Looking at this game, it's like it's another Anthem where it's like, how did this happen? How did this get released? Or Avengers, The Division, all these kinds of games.
Is there room for live service games that aren't, I don't know, like Destiny and Fortnite and Warzone? Like, is there space left for these games?
I think if someone released a good one of those, they could unseat Destiny, because I think Destiny people are desperate to jump off.
I don't think so. Those people are like in for you read the comments on internet articles about Destiny, man. Those people are in it.
Well, I would have thought there was no more room for like those kind of games, but like a free to play like Genshin Impact's made a big splash, so I think there's always room.
I think maybe free you can get away with possibly, but like Babylon's Fall was not free.
It was not free. No.
Right, a $60, $70 game, right? So
for a pay game like that, I'd say probably not.
Yeah, I just don't see like even Halo's free to play. So
well, I think beyond brand loyalty, we're reaching that point where every single one of these games, wants to be your game, right? Where your regular game, your main game, your lifestyle game, where you get home after a long day of work or more likely school and you fire up Destiny and you play till you go to bed, right? And the game is designed around that assumption and balanced around that assumption. But the thing about that is, you can only play one of those games at a time. You can't juggle them, and there is no end at which point you can say, okay, I've had my fun on the roller coaster. I'm going to go ride that one now. Right?
That's true, because even Final Fantasy XIV's got a pretty clear, you can stop for now.
Yeah, I was saying, these live service games don't have an off-ramp.
Right.
There's no gradually easing out.
By design.
Yes, exactly. And the problem with that for them is that you just have a limited. I think you really limit your audience potential that way. Because I assume if there's somebody out there who plays Destiny and looked at this, they're like, "Oh, this is cool," but
I'm playing Destiny.
I have Destiny, so
yeah.
I'm not going to stop playing Destiny, am I? When you played WoW as a kid, and I know this is how I felt. That's why part of the reason I'm glad I'm out of that is that when you'd play other games besides WoW, it almost felt like wasted time.
Yes.
Because you weren't progressing in WoW, and I'm sure that's how people who are really into a live service game feel. So those people are not going to want to jump into another one because they're going to be like, well, maybe I'm having a good time, but I could be gearing up in Destiny for the next DLC that will be taken out of the game in 2 years.
Yeah. It's about, as a genre, it's about monopolizing your time more than it is about giving you a fun game experience, right? And by definition, only one thing can monopolize your time at any given time, right?
Correct.
I feel like they were just trying to make their own sort of free-to-play with their own market. As I said, people that play Square games are the people that play Destiny games. So the idea was we're going to get those people and make our own, but they're not only not into Destiny games, they're not into that type of game. It's just not going to work.
I think there's a reason a lot of people who don't play Destiny don't play Destiny.
Yeah, and a lot of it has to do with the FOMO and time commitment.
I just don't know what these companies are looking at. I know most games aren't going to be Elden Ring. I get it. I'm just saying, Elden Ring is this fully original, not live service experience, and that game had the biggest launch since Red Dead Redemption 2, which is also not a live service game. It's a fully unique, original experience. I know most games aren't operating on that level. I'm just saying that some of these games, it seems like some developers think that you can only succeed a certain way, when it seems pretty clear that you can succeed by doing your thing very well.
The thing about that is, Elden Ring and Red Dead Redemption 2 are what I would consider, I know this isn't the actual definition of this term, but they're prestige games in the sense that they have basically gone down in history, right?
Yes.
Or Elden Ring is in the process of going down in history, right?
Yes.
As accomplishing something really, truly incredible.
Yes.
As opposed to something like God of War or Horizon, right? But the thing about Elden Ring and Red Dead Redemption 2 and games like that is you pay $60 and you're done. And maybe you sell, we'll say, just for the sake of easy numbers, 1 million copies, right? That's $60 million in the bank in Q2 of fiscal year 21, right? The crux of the live service is maybe you only sell 20,000 copies, right? or 200,000 is probably a better estimate. So you're making about a fifth of the money up front, but those people are going to be buying DLC. They're going to be buying microtransactions. They're going to be paying, the premium sub.
Oh, yeah, I get it.
Over the course of years and years, right?
I get it. I just think like they view it as more of a shortcut than it really is. Like,
yes, yeah.
You gotta do the work, and you gotta be really good at it. Like, I mean, God, freaking Fortnite. They whip those employees into a lather to get that content out and to be as monopolizing as they are of people's time. And not every company has the bandwidth to do that, and it's almost like what you have to do. You have to be so singularly focused, as Bungie is with Destiny and as Epic is with Fortnite.
Yeah, and that's something we'll talk about in our next story as well. But I'm inclined to say that the live service ship has sailed. The people who are susceptible to that kind of manipulation have their manipulator now, and it's designed to manipulate them in such a way that they will never search for another. So how are you going to break in, right?
Don't.
Yeah, go back to making good games. Simple as that.
Yeah, try to do something like unique, or
that'd be great.
Just doing what you already do, but well. I don't know.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah. In other quote-unquote live service news, 343 Industries detailed Halo Infinite's second season, Lone Wolves, which begins on May 3rd.
That's
the season will include 1 new Armored Core, 2 new maps, and, of course, plenty of $10+ microtransactions. Co-op campaign has also been delayed. Cheston, is this enough content to get you back into Infinite?
Just 2?
2 maps.
Just 2 maps?
2 maps. 1 for Big Team Battle and 1 for 4v4.
Have they looked at their list of maps, which consists of like 6 entries?
You will get what you get, and you will not throw a fit.
I don't know. From what I've been checking in with the Halo community, because they've replaced the Destiny community for my
and the Anthem community.
Shade and Fraud, and the community. It seems like they're in a bad way.
Yes.
Seems like I'm not alone in thinking this kind of sucks. But as someone who paid for the battle pass with gift card money,
you're guilty.
You know what's funny? Though it's really funny, and this tells you so much about. I don't know. Actually, I don't know what this tells you. I think it's funny. I bought the battle pass. I never played again.
Yeah.
That was the last time I played, was when I bought the battle pass. Once I bought it, stopped playing.
Yeah, I mean, I stopped playing it around. I didn't buy the battle pass, but on the free pass, the plebeian pass, I got.
Now, granted, I might play it again
40?
whenever this update comes out, just to see these 2 maps. Yeah. But I don't know. 2 maps?
I have Halo Infinite downloaded and I haven't played it. So.
Like, this reminds me of when the PS3 came out, and one of the launch games was MotorStorm, and they had like 6 racetracks. I remember the Penny Arcade podcast talking about having 6 dirt roads to drive around for this $60 game, and I just can't believe that this. I don't care if it's free to play. 2 maps, like that is. Like, you play that game for an hour, and you will get the same map probably 4 or 5 times.
Yeah,
and it gets old. Like, you can only play Slayer in that rain-slicked city map so many times before you're like, okay. And you can only play Capture the Flag on that, Blood Gulch wannabe desert map so many times, like 3 times before you're just done with it. And God, I think Big Team Battle has 2 maps or something with
3.
Same. Oh, 3. Sorry.
Yeah, but 2 of them are very, very similar.
I was saying 2 of them have the same biome. So like, are they going to add any Big Team Battle maps, or is it just?
It's 1 Big Team Battle and 1 4v4.
Only 1 4v4 map?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
What's it called?
I don't know, actually. I don't know that they announced the names of the maps.
Oh,
off the top
well,
of
that
my
would
head.
require that they have a plan.
The new maps, the BTB map is Breaker.
Okay.
And the arena map is Catalyst.
Oh, that sounds generic. I feel like the conversation of this game has fallen off a cliff since the new year.
Like, getting to a point where people are acknowledging that they only liked it because it was a new Halo?
Not the people you want to, but in general, I would say, like, in December, you had a lot of people like, oh, this game is awesome, game of the year, like, what an amazing turnaround. And, by January, it almost kind of felt like the game just disappeared. And now it's back to where it was pre-launch, almost when that trailer launched with Craig, where it's like, what is 343 doing? They don't seem capable of handling this franchise. This game is incomplete. This new update does not look promising. Where the hell is co-op? Because at this point, they still don't have a date for when co-op will launch. And now, honestly, having played Halo Infinite's campaign, I don't know who would want to play that game co-op, because it isn't designed for that at all, and I don't think it would be very fun at all. You can't even, pick maps and replay them. You're going to wander around this barren wasteland with your friend, I guess. So that's cool, but that should be in the game by now, and that's just kind of crazy to me that it's not.
One thing I've noticed in the conversation around this game, when you and I, Cheston, first started to sour on Infinite, I made the point that, I know that more content will come. Technical fixes will come. The problem is design decisions, which I don't think will change. But now, 4 or 5 months down the line, the design is what it is. The content stream is a trickle. But what stands out to me is, they're actively trying and failing to fix technical issues. They're still having major, major technical issues with no real solution in sight. And that is, unbelievable to me. Where, we're facing the reality, and a lot of people are starting to wake up that some of the technical issues in this game may never be fixed. It may be in this state for years.
I just can't foresee this game lasting 10 years, like they said.
Yes. Yeah.
In this state, it would have to be a dramatic overhaul.
They already have community managers snipping at people.
Yes.
Because someone asked for an update and like, I'm sorry, I was busy watching Ukraine getting bombed. Like, oh, okay. So
no, he said he was busy contemplating the reality that his son will, his young son will live through World War III.
Okay,
in a Twitter post.
There are actual developers that live in Ukraine and are actually having to fight in that battle, so that guy can fuck off. As far as I'm concerned,
it's just such a mess. I mean, how can this? Already, right? I kind of talked about a while back how when you look at Halo Infinite's campaign, it's already a blast from the past. It's like a 2012 game. How is this game going to last to 2032 like this? It's just...
It's a bummer.
Yeah.
It's started strong, like a phoenix from the ashes, and then that turned out that the phoenix was not really a phoenix, but was just like a parakeet or something that was covered in some red dust.
Spray paint.
Yeah. Some spray painted the bird. It was a tragedy all along, we just didn't realize it.
Well, finally this week, we've got exciting news about a game that just barely missed the live service boat. BioWare General Manager Gary McKay wrote on the company's blog that the team's plan for the ever-upcoming Dragon Age 4 was finally finalized just last year, and capital P production has at last begun.
Wait, I thought production already started. What is this?
Yeah, this is bullshit is what it is.
Would anyone like to adjust the release date guess?
Well, yeah, because
2026.
This game was announced in 2017, wasn't it? So...
Yes.
I think it was 2019.
Oh, okay. Well, it was a while ago. We're coming on 10 years of Inquisition,
Yes, it's been a long time.
2024 will be the 10-year anniversary.
This is insanity. And from the sounds of it, they just can't decide what they want. It's like a constantly moving target. It's like when you kickstart a game and they get more funding than they expected, so they're constantly making new things, like Star Citizen or whatever.
Yeah. At some point, it's like, you're telling me that BioWare can't decide what they want to do? Never heard that one before.
Because I've heard things like this was originally supposed to be like a big multiplayer game. Plans were scratched for that. This was going to be like a MOBA or something at some point. I don't know. Like, a lot of ideas have been thrown around for this game that all get thrown away. And like, I don't know if BioWare knows this, but the people that want to play a new Dragon Age game just want to play a Dragon Age. Like, keep it simple, stupid.
I feel like the fan base isn't actually very demanding because Inquisition sucks, and I love that. So sorry, Derek's wife. Here's the thing: it's like a baseball game where the pitcher is trying to throw down the middle of the plate, and the batter is just like so incompetent that they are either just flailing away or just not even swinging. Like,
bonk themselves in the head.
Where's the ball? I can't see it.
Has that ever happened in a baseball where the batter just winds up and he smacks himself in the back of the head or something? Because that's what this makes me think of.
It has happened.
Or smacks someone behind him in the back of the head.
That has also happened to the umpire or the catcher, both. BioWare needs to, they shouldn't even show Mass Effect anything.
Oh my god, yeah, I forgot they're doing Mass Effect too, aren't they?
Well, if they didn't do that, then what hope would there be? I mean, from a functional standpoint, they have to announce that.
That's true. They have to have their big game planned for their disappointment for the game they haven't released yet.
Exactly.
Then they need to be like, we're canceling Dragon Age and working on Mass Effect.
But they've only just finalized the plan. You can't cancel it now.
Well,
true.
I don't know. This is like one of those things where it almost seems like there's like a cover-up going on here, because I know there's a lot going on there. All these people leaving. And they want to make it look like work's happening. But I don't know that I think work is actually happening.
I mean, I swear to God, 3 years ago, they were showing footage of voices being recorded and
that was for the previous Inquisition.
So I looked it up. Okay, the timeline is Dragon Age 4 production or development began in 2015. That version was canceled in October 2018 because it wasn't a live service.
Thank you.
And then the current iteration was announced at the Game Awards 2 months later in December 2018.
Woof, that's a long time.
And then 2 years later, in 2020's Game Awards, they showed that little thing you're thinking of, Derek, where they're talking about recording the voices and tightening up the graphics on level 3 and all that.
This is kind of reminding me of when Persona 5 was first announced, and it was 2014, we're coming. And then it just took forever and ever.
Yeah, 2014 didn't come until 2017.
Yeah.
But at least with that, those developers had a semblance of competence.
They had a plan, maybe?
I'll bring it together.
They put out a really good game.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, if Dragon Age 4 is even...
And even then, if I recall correctly, Persona 5 launched with an image that communicated a little bit of what they would be dealing with thematically, so you knew they had a vision.
Yeah.
Whereas Dragon Age, the vision is, we're going to make Dragon Age.
You're right, because the original teaser image for Persona 5 was like a jail cell.
And I still remember it because it was good.
And it says "Are you slave?" or something like that.
Yeah.
And then and that was a theme that stuck to in the game. And you don't have anything to sink your teeth in yet with Dragon Age. We'll see.
Yep. Also, a note from this Wikipedia article, right, with the timeline. It says, and I quote, according to Bloomberg News, after both the success of the single-player Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and the decision to cancel the reworking of the massively multiplayer online Anthem, in February 2021, EA and BioWare opted to remove the planned multiplayer component from Dragon Age 4 and focus it as a single-player game. And then the director left in November 2021. And then the next guy left in February 2022.
Yeah, they're constantly moving around. There's no set goal point. It
feels like they don't want to tell their kid that Santa Claus isn't real.
Yeah. They don't want to just come out and say look, Dragon Age 4 never existed.
It sounds kind of like the development of Duke Nukem Forever, where the big trends in first-person shooters kept happening, so they kept reworking it. They're oh shit, Halo's really big. We got to do something here. And oh no, Half-Life 2 did this gravity gun thing. We got to work something in there. And then it's just constantly moving target resulted in a disaster that took forever to finish.
Think about how archaic Dragon Quest Inquisition feels now.
Dragon Quest Inquisition?
What did I say?
Dragon Quest Inquisition.
Oh, sorry. Well, Dragon Quest Inquisition would probably be a pretty good Dragon Quest game set in the Spanish Inquisition times. Dragon Age. Think how archaic that game feels.
Yes.
And like, picture them trying to make that thing now. Like, there's so many trends that have come and gone since then that would make a game like Inquisition look absolutely hilarious.
Well, at least it's not going to be a battle royale.
For now.
You don't know that. You don't know anything about what it will or will not be.
They've canceled the plans to make Dragon Age Battle Royale. Pursue, Fall Guys came out and they switched to that, and then Fall Guys fell out of fashion, and they're like, oh shoot.
What it makes me think of is Inquisition was 2014, right? 2 years later, you've got Andromeda, which was a flop, and they knew it was a flop. So then they started hyping up Anthem as the return to form for BioWare. Anthem was a flop. Well, then you've got to start hyping up Dragon Age 4 as the return to form for BioWare. But now, they're announcing Mass Effect will return BioWare to form, right? And does that kind of imply that they know Dragon Age 4 is going to flop-a-roo?
Maybe. I mean, the only good thing BioWare's done since Inquisition, which also, I should add again, wasn't good, was the Mass Effect collection, which was like the biggest layup in the history of layups. Like, all you had to do was not screw those games up, and they did it.
Yeah.
Actually, they almost bungled that because they took the multiplayer out of 3 and people weren't happy about that. But, nonetheless, they mostly didn't bungle it, so hey.
That's something that's really impressed me, is the reaction to the Mass Effect trilogy, where people are like, see, this remaster of these 10-year-old games proves BioWare's still got it.
That's because other companies have set the bar so low for how remasters are now.
Yeah.
Someone actually taking the time and not screwing it up seems like a big accomplishment, but it shouldn't be. It just shouldn't be.
Well, my point is more that a remaster proves nothing about a product in development, a new product.
Can they come up with their own new ideas? Can they come up with a new story that's compelling? Can they come up with modern gameplay systems that, are compelling?
Mm-hmm.
Can they?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I have my doubts.
I really doubt it.
We have no evidence that they can.
Yeah, I have reason to believe that they cannot do it, because I didn't think they could do it in 2014 either, so
yeah.
Still, they got a ways to go.
Well, I'm sure this time in 2024, we'll be hearing all about the next big plan.
Let's bookmark this to talk about this in 2026.
Yeah. Right there with Star Wars Eclipse.
Mm.
Did you see that?
No. Is that
that game is
Dream?
Yes.
David Cage.
Apparently that game is targeting a 2027 release date.
Why even announce it?
Because you know how Disney does things. I mean, that's pretty on par with their usual business of showing like a big picture of like, here's our timeline. Look at all this stuff we've got planned out.
Honestly, this Dragon Age stuff is like, it's going on for as long as the Kingdom Hearts 3 announcement to release.
True, it is.
It's a long time.
And we know how Kingdom Hearts 3 turned out.
Well, it's okay. So let's get into that game real quick then.
Hello, it's me, Chef Chesteau. Welcome to Hex Kitchen.
Welcome back.
Derek.
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Chesteau?
I'm good. It's been a long time since you have come to my humble abode.
Yeah, I don't think Setzer was here last time you visited us.
Oh, where's that ugly one?
Here.
Oh. Hello. Hi. So, gentlemen, this is my new program. My old show got canceled. It wasn't very big with the 18 to 27 demographic. So, I've heard all the rages about Gordon Ramsay, that son of a bitch. So, this is my take on his quote-unquote work. This is called Hex Kitchen, and here's how it works. I have a variety of cuisines, and you must choose one or the other. You might think this sounds like my last game show, but you see it is called Hex Kitchen. This is different. So, with that being said, first, let's have a look ahead at what we might be having at some point, maybe in sure. I've set the oven for a crisp 500 degrees, and this dish is going to take a bit of time to come out. So which one do you think will come out of the oven first? My Metroid Prime 4 souffle, or my Dragon Age 4 escargot?
I think Metroid Prime 4, because
Yeah.
I think Metroid Prime 4 is, you know how Nintendo is, they're like, yeah, this game's finished, it's going to come out in like 2 weeks. I think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be a Switch 2 launch game, which I think will come out next year. I think it, so there you go.
Wait, did you say you think it'll come out this year?
No, I said
Okay.
Switch 2 next year.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Well, Retro Studios did change their Twitter banner to a image that might be of Samus. So,
Oh,
yeah. That's what we're
maybe.
dealing with right here, boys. The scraps.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny because when I saw that image update, I was like, oh my god, I bet Nintendo Twitter is on fire. And I was like, I bet Arlo's posted a video on YouTube about this. And I was right. Right on all counts.
I would say at least they're being quiet about it. We don't know if they're still having trouble figuring out what they're doing. Whereas Dragon Age, we know where they're having trouble. So
Well, no, they just are refocusing, Derek.
true.
Asshole.
How dare I doubt the plan?
Okay, so do we all agree Metroid Prime 4 because we don't think Dragon Age 4 is coming out?
I think it's coming out.
Well,
There's no way it doesn't.
Not anytime soon.
But it'll be it'll be something.
okay. Both of those are going to take forever. It doesn't matter. So, moving on. So I'm going to distract you with an appetizer. Now, these are both warmed over from my fridge, but customers don't know that. And I also don't store it at a proper temperature. Hey. Anyways, which of these do you think is the more unfortunate appetizer to ingest? Horizon Zero Dawn or Horizon Forbidden West? Which is going to be more quickly overshadowed by the main dish?
Well, I you know, I'm gonna say I think Zero Dawn is, just because I think Breath of the Wild is probably more people are going to end up beating that. They will beat Elden Ring, and also Forbidden West has the benefit of being one of the few games that takes advantage of the PS5. So people that get a PS5 will probably want to see how pretty it looks on that system, so they're probably going to try it. So I think this might have a longer shelf life because of that, but it is still unfortunate timing.
I'm going to agree with that, with the caveat that I think Elden Ring will have a bigger impact on things than Breath of the Wild did. Even if fewer people beat it.
Yeah.
Or a smaller percentage.
We saw how Dark Souls influenced things, and that's more than any Zelda game has recently. So
you're right about that.
Seems to follow that Elden Ring would do the same. I think the only thing that is kind of like wait and see for me, because Zero Dawn, of course, was overshadowed by Breath of the Wild. But 2022 sure seems like it could be a heck of a year for games.
Well, I would say it could be 2017 too.
Yeah. Oh. And like, at least for Horizon, people could spend the whole year bitching about, whether or not Breath of the Wild actually destroyed it or just maybe destroyed it. This is like, it feels like there's no conversation here. It's like, yes, Elden Ring is absolutely a better and more interesting game than Horizon Forbidden West. Partially because Horizon Forbidden West is just more Horizon. So
yeah,
I'm going to say Forbidden West for that reason, because it's more iterative and therefore even more gobsmacked by the game released directly after it.
Fair enough.
Would any of you gentlemen like to try some of my Elden Rings? They're onion rings I've had in the fridge for 10 years.
No, that's okay.
Okay. Well, anyways, I like to dress up my plate. Unlike that bitch Gordon Ramsay, I think the ambiance goes quite a bit of a way. So here in Hex Kitchen, I like to put a little bit of garnish here and there. Maybe a little thing of lettuce, a little sprig. So I ask you, which will be the more unattractive garnish for this main dish we have coming up? The logo for Street Fighter 6, or the Bandai Namco logo that they unveiled last year?
Oh, Street Fighter 6.
Street Fighter 6.
That not only is it a really generic shitty logo, it is a stolen logo. So
what's it stolen from?
Some guy.
It's just stock art that some guy sells. Yeah.
So it's like, it's just terrible. And Street Fighter, I feel like, has a pretty well-known logo. Like, it's pretty cool
Mhm.
looking. I don't know why you would change it. So
Yeah.
it makes no sense. Like, are you trying to tell us that your product's generic and shitty? That's what that
You know
logo
what?
communicates to me.
You know what that logo reminds me of is the Justice League
Oh, it
movie
does kinda look
logo.
like that. I was gonna say it made me
Yeah.
think like they were going for the UFC audience when I saw that logo.
Kinda.
Like they
Yeah.
want some Ultimate Fighter fans to be like, "Hell yeah, bro! Did you just see Cain Velasquez caving that guy's skull?"
Well, the first character they revealed is a UFC fighter.
Oh,
And a zoomer.
He's the least interesting looking Street Fighter character ever.
oh yes. Okay. Well, speaking of ambiance, my lovely facilities here, state of the art, really. They look a bit better than something designed by Game Freak, wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
So, I ask you, which of these Game Freak productions has a better ambiance, but worse than my restaurant? Pokemon Violet and Scarlet, or Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl?
I have to go with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl just because I don't know anything about this Scarlet and Violet yet.
Well, you saw the trailer, no? Aren't those usually pretty indicative of the final product?
It looks
Oh?
like a sweeping plane of some sort, like every Pokemon game since X. I don't know. So it looks like.
Can I say something that might be taken offensively?
Sure.
Can we stop having Pokemon regions in Europe? Like,
They're only on the third of like.
Well-
how many did they have in Japan?
well, I know, but I feel like they broke away from just doing Japan to do like this world trotting, globe trotting adventure, and now we've had France, and we've had, the
England.
UK, and now we have Spain.
Someone's butthurt. They only did America once.
I don't want America. They actually did America
Where do
twice.
you want?
Idiot. They do New York and Hawaii, which is America.
Oh, that's true.
So, but I mean, can't they go to like, I don't know, South America, go to Australia? I don't know.
I'm gonna say something controversial.
Okay.
I think the reason they stick to Japan, America, and the biggest countries in Europe
Yes.
is because, one, those are the countries that sell, but also, or rather, the countries that buy.
Yes.
And also, those are the countries that the other countries are more familiar with.
That's true.
And I think if you made like an Australia Pokemon, people would look at it and say, where's the kangaroos and cowboy hats? Where's the dollar-e-doos? Where's the upside down? And be
Oh, I
totally
love
lost
that.
and confused,
You think
right?
it should be a Saudi Arabian Pokemon game?
Like people are only familiar with like a very shallow stereotype of other countries.
God, they cut your rival up and chopped him into pieces. Shit! Let's get out of here.
That would be awesome. Gary can certainly use that treatment.
See, well, very terrible, both of them. Oh, Game Freak, I tell you. Anyways, finally, your main dish, it was served when you weren't looking, so don't worry about it. Here's your to-go item. Everybody loves a good to-go bag, a doggy bag filled with all kinds of goodies from the restaurant. Which of these is a better to-go item for your journeys? The Switch OLED or the Steam Deck?
I'll let Mr. Switch go first here.
I haven't played the Steam Deck at all, and I have only played the Switch docked. But I'm gonna say, I haven't played it very much at all. If I had to guess, I would say the Switch, because the Switch plays games that only the Switch plays. The Steam Deck plays games that I would rather play on my PC. So
I think the Steam Deck looks really cool. You already have like a vast library of things if you have a Steam library. Who knows how much of that works on Steam Deck? But the idea is that eventually will. Hopefully most of it plays well with controllers. But I think with the versatility of the Steam Deck, that seems more appealing to me. But I could be proven wrong for sure.
But here's the curiosity with the Steam Deck, as someone who knows nothing about technical specs. So right now, obviously, it's doing pretty well. You can play Elden Ring, even, on a Steam Deck.
Steam Deck verified.
Yes. But in 2 or 3 years, will the Steam Deck not be a bit of a problem? Like, will it not be able, I would assume it won't be able to handle the newest games 3 years from now as well as it handles the newest games now. And it's not like blowing those games' doors off or anything. So isn't that kind of a concern?
It's kind of a concern. I mean, I would say the Steam Deck renders at a pretty low resolution in the first place, and with technology like DLSS, it'll probably keep kicking for a few more years just fine. The games will look butt ugly, but that's, the same for the Switch anyway.
Yeah. I guess my main concern with the Steam Deck, my concerns are, one, battery life. Switch battery life ain't great either.
Well, apparently you can customize certain things in the Steam Deck to make the battery life longer.
That's nice. The longevity of the hardware mentioned, I think it's a little different though, because Switch games are developed for the Switch. Steam Deck games are, you assume, developed for the PC and then happen to have a, Steam Deck compatibility mode. And then you have the screen. I'm curious about the screen quality. Because, now that I've had the OLED, I don't think I could go back to a normal LCD screen. It's a pretty nice screen.
Well, I think that the longevity of the Steam Deck depends entirely on the success. Like, if the Steam Deck is
hardware longevity.
I know what you mean, but I'm saying, like, if it's a success, people that are making newer games will make, they might focus more on, like, a Steam Deck's point of reference. Yeah.
Well, then don't we get worried about the same thing we were worried about with the Series S, where they're holding back?
Well, it's different for PC though. Like they're making like a whole game, and then they're like, here's the graphics set for Steam Deck.
That's fine. I said I don't know anything, so I mean that's fair. It's not really the machine for me. I get why people are into it. As a parent, I do take some umbrage with the articles I've seen that said this is like the ideal device for parents. Like, I just still think like there are certainly indie games on Steam, but most of those are also on Switch, and I just don't know what parent is going to be popping open a game like Elden Ring while their kid is on the couch with them. It just doesn't seem like very conducive to that lifestyle to me. But I don't know. Maybe people do it differently than I do.
You didn't see the education appeal in the Labo, so what do you know?
I was right about Labo. I'm not saying I'm right about Steam Deck. I mean, obviously people are enamored with it now. I'll be curious to see. My feeling has always been that like it will do very well with a hardcore demographic, but the Switch does well with every demographic. It has hardcore players, it has families, it has. It seems like at some point, even Setzer has one now. Like everybody ends up getting a Switch. Whether or not it's their longtime players or new players or whatever. Like, I just can't see like a kid getting a Steam Deck for Christmas.
I couldn't either. It seems more like a hardcore enthusiast device.
I take umbrage with people saying that it's going to be like a competition for it. Like, I really don't think it's competition. I think it's going for a totally different market.
It's too soon to say. Like, if it caught fire or something, sure. But for right now, it's for hardcore people only.
Yeah. I also all this talk about like Windows and stuff. That to me, I'd be curious how that even works at all, because I just can't see that being an ideal experience. Like, the Switch OS is designed for the Switch. Now that OS is super minimal, but it runs well, does what you need to do. So the idea of putting Windows on this little tiny device, I'm sure it'll work fine. I just, I as someone who had a Mac and ran Windows on that, you could tell. You could tell you're running on a platform it wasn't meant for.
Well, all I know is that when people start playing FF14 on Steam Deck, I think they're going to get a reputation as shitters. So you're going to be like, oh, you're probably a freaking Steam Deck player.
Well, I mean, yeah, not to mention you'll be playing on Wi-Fi, which, in some circles is tantamount to, like, stabbing someone in the chest.
Oh, I play on Wi-Fi on FF14. I
play on Wi-Fi and everything because of the way my house is set up. But I know that I've been in, like, arguments with people who've been like, well, you shouldn't even play Smash Bros. Online if you have only a Wi-Fi connection.
They're not wrong.
Like, dude, the Switch is a handheld console. Maybe it's not me who needs to change my habits. Maybe you need to change your habits.
Maybe you need to start playing docked. Ever think about that?
I can play docked, but my house is not set up where I can plug into the internet directly without creating an interesting wiring solution.
Chef Chesteau, why don't you run us down our...
Oh, yes. Oh, well, man. Yes. Anyways, so you all have chosen in your choose your own a la carte entree Metroid Prime 4, which is still cooking. Horizon Zero Dawn, which is over there smelling in the corner. The Street Fighter 6 logo, which has been tastefully slapped onto your plate. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shiny Pearl, which is currently lighting up the room around you. And in your doggy bag is a nice OLED Switch.
White, of course.
Actually, we're all out.
Oh no, neon. Ugh.
Is Pepsi color okay?
Nay. Anyway, well, that'll do it for us this week. You can reach us on Twitter at alltodaypod or on email alltodaypodcast@gmail.com. This is Derek.
Setzer.
And Cheston.
We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Adios.
Bye now.